What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing all good. I'm going to just move away from reviews for a bit with this video because I did want to have a little talk about Disney and Star Wars because, as you know, I wasn't a fan of this Obi-Wan series, and I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are with these future projects that are coming out as well. Just before we get into that, just a little statement. I'm reviewing all the Thor films all the way up to Thor Love and Thunder. The Thor video will be coming out in a few days, so make sure to look after that. But without further ado, let's not waste any more time and let's just get straight into this video. So before I get to what I just want to talk about, I'm just going to talk to you about my history with this film franchise. Mainly the only reason I started watching these films was because of my dad. He was a massive Star Wars fan. Empire Strikes Back is one of his all-time favourite movies. Before I saw them, I was not really a big fan of film and I didn't really want to watch Star Wars. But I thought, you know what, we'll watch them. And the first one I watched was Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the worst live-action Star Wars film. And of course, like many kids back in the day then, I thought this film was excellent. I thought the other five were brilliant. And back then my favourite was Revenge of the Sith. And I was the one that always said Empire Strikes Back was the worst one. Of course, over time I have changed my views on all these. So when the sequel trilogy came out and all these spin-offs like Rogue One, I was hyped. I was really hyped. Force Awakens came out. Boom. I loved it. Rogue One came out. Thought it was the best one. Last Jedi came out. Came out of that a bit conflicted like most people did. Even my dad did. Solo came out. I was here saying it was the worst one. My views kind of changed on that now. And then we get to Rise of Skywalker. And then this is where I think my love for Star Wars now has died. If you didn't know, Rise of Skywalker is a awful film. I would definitely say it's better than Phantom Menace, only because Phantom Menace is pretty boring. This one's not, but in the wrong way. After I watched Rise of Skywalker on DVD, I've just realised that Disney does not know much about Star Wars, and they don't know what they're really doing with it now. The problem with Rise of Skywalker, it kind of killed a lot of the anticipation I was holding for the future projects like Mandalorian. I'll be honest, I haven't watched Mandalorian because I've not been excited for it. I haven't watched Book of Boba Fett, mostly because I've heard it's really bad. But I thought Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of my all-time favourite Star Wars characters. So I was saying, you know what, we'll give these shows a try. And after watching this show, I put a review up, as you know, and I've got to say, I think I'm going to stop watching these future Star Wars projects, because if Disney can't get one of my all-time favourite characters' stories right, then why are they going to make the other stories good? I know people have said Mandalorian is great, and I have been intrigued to watch it, see what people think. I might watch it one day, I might see, but I've got to be honest, ever since Rise of Skywalker, I've just been having something that I like to call Star Wars fatigue. Like, I haven't watched, as I said, I haven't watched Mandalorian, Book of Boba, haven't watched The Bad Batch, haven't watched Star Wars Visions, which apparently is very good. The only new TV show, apart from Kenobi, that I've watched for Disney is Season 7 of The Clone Wars, only because Star Wars The Clone Wars is my all-time favourite TV show. But even with Season 7, the last 4 episodes were the only brilliant episodes. The middle 4 were pure boredom. The first 4 were pretty good, but not brilliant. And it just made me feel Disney doesn't really know what to do with this story now. They don't know what to do with these characters. What I've noticed is that with reviews of like the Book of Boba, Mandalorian Season 2, they just keep bringing back all these fan service characters for nothing. Like, I watched a review for Book of Boba Fett when it ended, and I know Cad Bane is in the last episode. Cad Bane in Clone Wars, brilliant, love the character. But I have heard that he doesn't do anything, and that it's just pointless fan service, which is really disappointing because, you know, he's one of my favourite characters and he's just there for a quick cameo. And I've heard that it happens with a lot of the favourable characters. So what am I trying to say here is I'm really just out of Star Wars now. I've kind of fallen in love with it. And the problem is canon continuity is another thing that's being broken. Obi-Wan Kenobi did it. It did it with Luke. I did say, oh, we shouldn't see a lightsaber. Sort of lightsaber. That's one. And there's other things that are just there for plot armor. So many plot conveniences in that show, which are just like, I'm just done. You know, Star Wars for me now has just become a pointless franchise. And I know that Star Wars has always been about making money selling toys. It's always been like that since the first bloody film that came out in the 70s. I 100% get that. But now it just feels like it's just there to do that and not to tell a compelling story anymore. And it's just sad. It's just really sad. You know, I love Star Wars. It's my all-time favourite movie franchise. I've collected a lot of things Star Wars-wise, but now I've just noticed that it's being run by a corporate identity that just really cares about money. And it's sad. You know, I know, as I said, I know Star Wars has always been about making money, but that's just all it feels right now. I mean, if you look at Disney's future projects, what we've got? We've got Andor coming up next. Who was asking for this? Like, they're just releasing stuff now that nobody really asked for. And while I have heard people saying, oh, the trailer looked good, I have seen the trailer. I must say, it does look fairly okay. Well, then again, we said that for Kenobi, and look how that turned out. You know, they're releasing stuff like Andor. What was it, like the Old Republic or something like that? I don't even know because it's all bad. And while I have heard they're releasing a season 3 of Mandalorian and like an Ahsoka Tano show, they are like the interesting parts of what I want to see. But stuff like this Raver spin-off, like, who was really asking for this? You know, I wasn't a fan of Raver in the series, and while I don't like it, I do not condemn all these racial slurs that people were sending the actress. I think whoever did that was not a real Star Wars fan. They are idiots, that's all they are. But it just feels like now Disney are releasing Star Wars series after Star Wars series, stuff that I'm not even bothered about because of what they've done so far. I'll give my views on them. Force Awakens I still technically like. Rogue One is fine. Same with Last Jedi. Season 7 of the Clone Wars was fine, and it was quite a bit of a disappointment. Solo was fine. Rise of Skywalker is where it really shot the bed. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, pretty bad, you know. I'm just looking at this now, and it's just becoming quite sad that I've said to myself, I don't really want to watch any more Star Wars. And I'm afraid that this is going to become a running effect with things like Marvel. Marvel, this MCU, I love Marvel. I think Phase 4, I know people said they don't like it. I think they're doing pretty good so far. You know, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, Shang-Chi, all these films and some of the TV shows, very good. It's still keeping my interest. People have said, oh, that's just becoming a money-grabbing machine. I was sitting there like, well, it's always been a money-grabbing machine, the MCU. Same with Star Wars before Disney wrapped it up. But, unfortunately, Star Wars now is having crap stories with forgettable characters and are actually ruining continuity, canon, and some of my favourite characters. Marvel are still trying to tell compelling stories which do work. You know, I'm looking forward to Thor Love and Thunder. That looks really good. At the moment, Miss Marvel, I'm actually very enjoying that. It's not my favourite MCU show, but I think what they're doing with the character, I'm loving. And I love that they're trying to go out to like different cultures. It's brilliant. But I don't know. With Lucasfilm now, it just feels like they're just trying to get as much cash as they can, milk Star Wars to death, and just see how much money they can get out of it. You know, for me, the sequel trilogy was just there to appease to a new audience, which, you know, is fine. I do respect. But it also just felt like, oh, we need to make our money back, all this $7 billion that we paid to Lucas and all that. I have my problems with the prequels, and while they are very, very, very flawed, I can at least tell that George had a plan to do what he wanted to do. He wanted to make the origin to Anakin Skywalker, and while he did technically fail, he had a plan. With these sequel films, they had no plan. They just said, "Oh, we'll set up all this stuff in Force Awakens. Rian Johnson, you come in at Last Jedi. You do your own thing." Then J.J. Abrams came in. "Hey, F you. I don't like all this. I'm doing my own shot. I'm going to retcon your movie." And it just felt all messy. And this sequel trilogy in particular, like every time I watch any other Star Wars film now, I just have to think to myself that the sequel films never happened. And that's really sad because I wanted to love these films. I want to love every film that's ever made, but unfortunately, I just think Star Wars to me is dead now. All these future projects, I don't think I'll ever watch. I gave it a try with Kenobi, and it didn't pique my interest. I don't think I'll watch Andor. I think the only real show in the future that I will watch is Ahsoka. That is it, really. If they release another season of Clone Wars, not like they will, I might watch it, even though the story's done. They're releasing a Bad Batch season 2. Haven't watched the first season. Don't really want to watch the first season. Visions, I've heard people it's very good. I might pique my interest. But this is coming from a big Star Wars fan. And for me to say all this is very sad. I don't want to say this stuff. I love this franchise. And to see it just become dug into the ground by a company that clearly doesn't know what they want to do, and just wants to appeal to the older audience with stupid cameos and fan service that don't do anything, and they're just there for like a whoa. They're just there for a nostalgia boner. It's just really sad, and I don't know, man. I mean, let me know your thoughts on it. Do you think you'll keep watching these Star Wars shows and films if they do release them? Are you going to stop watching them? What did you think of the sequel trilogy? Just tell me, because I know there are people out there that do agree with me, and I know there's people out there that don't agree with me. We all have our own opinions, of course, which is fine, but I don't know, man. I just think Star Wars now is just becoming a series of events that are just coming less and less interesting. And I think I'm done watching future projects for a while. And Siri just went off for some reason. But as I said, I just think that Star Wars is done now for me. I might tune in sometimes to see what's going on, but I think I'll just stick to the original trilogy and even the prequels and the Clone Wars series. But that's it for me, really. I don't know, man. Just as I said, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this video, though. I'm sorry if you didn't like it. If you disagree with me, fair enough. As I said, we have our own opinions. But have a good day. Make sure to look out for my Thor review. It will be coming out in a few days. See you later. Bye-bye.